Hey everyone, Daniel here, and welcome to Chapter 5, The Seven Wonders of Territory. This is a kind of a long episode. It's almost a double episode. So I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, so please excuse me if I'm not looking directly at you. There is a lot of information to cover, and I want to be sure to get everything accurately for you. So please excuse if I'm not engaging as much as I usually do. Tonight we stand under a full moon in the mutable air sign of Gemini's territory. Our attention is forced to mega information sharing, how we communicate emotionally, magically, creatively, and physically. Add the force of tonight's lunar eclipse, and we now face a wind shear of new information being downloaded into our consciousness, both personally revealing and fundamentally groundbreaking, if not heartbreaking. We are in fact breaking new ground and finding new heart. Because as we shift the ways we communicate, we also shift how we receive new information and perceive old information. Soul enlightening breakthroughs on top of heartbreaking realizations are serious life events that demand our full attention, care, diligence, in terms of personal recovery time and extent of trauma. When we are, in fact, transforming the way we communicate our thoughts and emotions, our magical energy requires special care and consideration because our emotional mental energy and magical creative energy are braided very tightly together. For this reason, it's best to step away from traditional full moon spell work during this particular full moon, as the energy is too chaotic no matter what your sign is. In fact, even if you are doing this course in order, but are weeks behind, the Seven Wonders is designed to follow and anticipate emotional waxing waning events induced by the recovery aspect of the program itself. So please, even if you're a seasoned practitioner, refrain from any spell work for the time being, other than the task of the Seven Wonders assigned this week. We are going to continue the exploration into our previously unknown identity and new emerging territory, that which we have been discovering and recovering all along through the practice of the Seven Wonders. In fact, this full moon is about opening new doorways and altering courses, be it emotional, life changes, or both. And the energy right now is also about learning to notice and trust synchronicity. Last week in Chapter 4, The Seven Wonders of Abundance, we re-examined our attitudes around witchcraft and the divine. Sorting through the subtle preconceptions, the resulting attitude list is a black and white account of our core beliefs. When we are faced with our own preconceptions, we begin to have an uneasy feeling that perhaps we've invested some, if not all, of our faith into someone else's opinions. When we are faced with our own preconceptions, we begin to have an uneasy feeling that perhaps we've invested some, if not all, of our faith into someone else's opinions, experiences, and expectations. When we begin to question our fundamental beliefs, it doesn't take much time to identify where the weaknesses are. If something looks and feels too flimsy, chances are it's time to examine and probably replace it. We also tended to some household amends by neutralizing residual rage our belongings may have picked up from us. As I said at the top, our emotional mental energy and magical creative energy are braided very tightly together. Objects, in general, do not have the ability to deflect anger, or any strong emotion for that matter, but they can retain and react to emotional energy, especially from a witch or a highly sensitive, hyper-energetic person. When we amend and animate the energy of the sticks and stones that make up our belongings and home, our territory becomes more livable for us. More than that, our territory becomes a dynamic voice that tells us how we are doing, how we are feeling, and how we are living. As our amended territory begins communicating to us and through us, our boundaries start speaking up in short order because they too have been neglected, abused, and violated. Deciphering the language of our boundaries, knowing where our boundaries are coming from, first requires we know where they are. That is something most of us have a very hard time with because our boundaries tend to morph in proportion and location right along with our sense of safety. They are hard for us to pinpoint because when we make a call out to them, we get an echo effect back. Where are you? I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here. Ricochets back to us from several disorienting locations. Many times it's simply because we don't know what or who to look out for. As we traverse the path and territory of witchcraft, we become more aware of the joys and rewards of a magical life, because we also become aware that there are things we need to watch out for. When I first moved to Santa Fe, I loved taking long walks in the arroyo. Sagebrush, high desert flowers that inspired Georgia O'Keeffe, a crow I've become very attached to, all against the backdrop of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, which changes in magnificence and beauty with the shifting light. But I also know there are coyotes, a breed of rattlesnakes that don't have rattles, mountain lions, bears, and wolves, part of life in the southern Rockies, and something we who live here understand and watch out for. As witches, we need to understand our territory. Tonight, we share territory with the full moon. But not all the creatures that share moonlight with witches are safe. Our boundaries need to be located and resized, based on the size and nature of the threat. Lay of the land. Energy vampires, dementors, fallen angels, greys, and snake oil. That literally could be a travel disclaimer for Santa Fe, along with the wildlife warnings I mentioned before. That being said, I was drawn to Santa Fe, New Mexico like a magnet. In terms of geological interest, this part of the southern Rockies also hugs a rim of a supermassive volcano, which means there are massive amounts of lava churning right underneath us. This creates magnetic fields and magnetic spikes that many people who live here claim create vortexes in time, space, and other dimensions. The otherworldly geological features alone are the stuff of epic movies. Literally, everything from the Rio Grande, the Lone Ranger, and Space Cowboys were shot on location in and around Santa Fe. The highest peak in Santa Fe Mountains, with an elevation of 13,000 feet, a suitable altitude for this Aquarian, an air sign who always wanted to live above the clouds anyway, in the ether, where mystics and monks devote lifetimes to prayer and ritual. Culturally, we enjoy a unique, eclectic diversity of peoples, traditions, and history. Our indigenous Pueblo Indian populations migrated here from just northwest of Santa Fe. Their ancestors created the Mesa Verde cliff dwellings, some of the best preserved ancient ruins in North America. They were the Anasazi, or the Ancient Ones. And if you watch Ancient Aliens, I'm sure you already know all about that. When the Spanish arrived here, 13 years before Plymouth Colony was founded, they brought Catholicism with them and the first Gothic-style cathedral west of the Mississippi. Santa Fe is one of the oldest cities in the United States, having celebrated our 400th birthday in 2010. But this area was home to Apache and Navajo long before, and it still is. Skinwalkers, or werewolves, are also part of the territory, with sightings and stories still emerging today, along with Bigfoot encounters. In present-day Santa Fe, we enjoy the highest Buddhist population per capita in the United States. The sacred mountains of Tibet share many things in common with the mountains of New Mexico: altitude and strange phenomena. Roswell, New Mexico, of course, is forever linked to UFOs, and I don't know anyone who lives here who doesn't have a close encounter story, myself included. On my walks in the arroyo, I cross paths with folks from all walks of life. A nuclear physicist from Los Alamos Labs, where the nuclear bomb was first developed and tested. A mix of authors, painters, and indigenous healers. Like Sedona and New Orleans, Santa Fe ranks high on the woo-woo meter. And unfortunately, we not only share territory with rattlesnakes without rattles, we have more than our fair share of snake oil. Con artists, sociopaths, and goons who just don't want to be found. Santa Fe attracts all types of spiritual seekers, healers, practitioners. Therefore, it also attracts those who prey and feed on our magical ecosystem. Con artists and sociopaths do tremendous harm, not only to those that they prey on, honest people who put their faith in spiritual healing and trust in spiritual advisors, but they cause immeasurable harm to those who have legitimate gifts. In fact, these dark realm beings and all-out assholes have sullied the reputation of the occult since the beginning of history itself. Knowing how to spot a rattlesnake that doesn't have a rattle is tricky. Knowing how to spot a vampire that doesn't have a cape and fangs is tricky too. The trick is knowing what to look for and where to step when you see it. Hint, vampires don't like the light of day or mirrors. While tricky, it will be easier than you think. You don't have to come to Santa Fe to find magical menaces because they've already found you. They've occupied your territory all your life. And you may already have a sense of who they are. In fact, you may have become so familiar, so comfortable with occupying the same space with them that you live in a sense of false security. Oh, I know that's a dangerous, venomous, cold-hearted snake, but I'm used to him, he's used to me, I'll just step right over it. Lowering boundaries in this way is the quickest way to get a snake bite and a trip to the hospital that I can think of. All right, let's move right into this week's task, assignments, and meditation. Defense against the dark arts. Some of the more common companions on a witch's territory are energy vampires and dementors. Their presence is always accompanied with dark, thunderous storm fronts and foul weather. And like Count Dracula himself, these are highly charismatic, provocative, enchanting, engaging, and dangerously persuasive people. While charismatic, they are also completely out of control. Energy vampires infiltrate your entire life. For empaths, energy vampires are like junk food. We literally reach for the next energy vampire like a junkie reaches for another fix. And just like drug dealers, energy vampires thrive in shadowy places and dark alleys. Once you're seduced by their charm, they lure you back and slowly begin administering their poison. Any attempt to even crack the door open, an energy vampire will recoil with the possibility of light. How dare you expose me to the light of day? It's like a kid who asks his mom how she got a black eye. Never mind about that and don't ask me again. The codependent dysfunctional denial system is an energy vampire's coffin dirt. They make sure that system is in place everywhere they go. Home, work, the homes of family and friends, because without it, they are in imminent danger. They enlist the aid of enablers, who act as an army of Renfields, making sure their master's every wish, need, and tantrum is pacified. They cover up all the mirrors and the windows to ensure the denial system is not breached. Energy vampires, like other vampires, are usually victims themselves. Their condition is infectious and will always be caused by another energy vampire. Their breed ranges in tactics and severity, but their motive is always the same: to feed on you and your energy, and to maintain control, which ultimately leads to chaos. A trusted family member calls and gets you out of bed at 1:30 a.m. on a Sunday night. Knowing you're having a particularly hard time with others in the family and work, just to tell you how ridiculous, petty, and childish you are. And of course, this individual is 3 sheets to the wind, slurring words and nonsensical delusional attacks, while you're a sober alcoholic. Any progress or promise for a family peace flies out the window like a bat into the darkness and disappears. And your work week is toast because of a late night attack from an energy vampire. Another example, your low self-esteem, passive-aggressive friend shows up, unannounced, with his out-of-control, recently released from rehab son to crash on your couch for a few nights. Because you're such a great, calming, patient, and understanding person and influence. Energy vampires show up in your life like selfless humanitarian angels. Think Annie Wilkes in Misery. I'm your #1 fan. They will nurse you, dote on you, and obsess over you, creating the illusion that you would be helpless without them. But in reality, the energy vampire is systematically isolating you from your real friends while curbing and or monitoring your activities, which adversely impacts your magic and abilities, not to mention your mental health, showering you with praise the entire time, mind you, until you suspect something might not be right. When you try to walk around and explore, you're hobbled, and the true face of your energy vampire is revealed. Here's a good checklist of what to look out for. Energy vampires break promises. Energy vampires expect special treatment. Energy vampires discount your reality. Energy vampires hoard your time and spend your money. Energy vampires triangulate those they deal with. Energy vampires create dramas. Energy vampires hate schedules, except their own. Energy vampires hate order. Energy vampires don't listen to your problems, they wait for an opportunity to redirect and dominate the conversation back to themselves and their problems. Energy vampires deny they are energy vampires. Dealing with energy vampires requires an understanding of how to create, install, and enforce your boundaries. Again, depending on the severity, a complete banishment may not be called for. That being said, personal boundaries are personal boundaries. Personal boundaries definition: personal, meaning nobody else's business, and boundaries, meaning do not enter and back the fuck up. Here are 2 steps for putting boundaries into practice. Number 1, boundaries require little to no explanation. Number 2, boundaries require little to no explanation. There's a difference between enforcing your boundaries and justifying your boundaries. You know your boundaries are large enough and working when they are respected. The second you are put in the position of justifying your boundaries, it's too late. You've not only invited the energy vampire into your home, but you've given it the keys. If you suspect that you are under the influence of an energy vampire, here are a few tactics to make a determination about the size and fortitude of your boundaries. Blow the whistle. Just like it sounds, a short, swift blow of the whistle from a referee signals that a player has stepped out of bounds or committed a foul. Most low-grade energy vampires will respond and comply. Hey, it's not cool for you to, and state your boundary. Period. Mischief managed. It's very important to state your boundaries up front. I need some time is a straightforward statement. If you receive a harsh, contemptuous, how long, you are being manipulated into the offender's designated time frame, which is outrageous. Communicating your boundaries clearly and with intention is vitally important. But if you feel deep stress and anxiety because of your involvement with an energy vampire, then you may have no other choice than to make some abrupt changes. Repeat offenders are likely to be people who are very close to you, and this suggests a serious codependent toxic behavior pattern. There are no quick fix spells for this, and you should not try to weather a dangerous situation like this on your own. There are support groups out there and countless books on codependency. If you sense you're in real danger, then do something right away to make sure that you get the help you need. The dog whistle. There are cases where behavior patterns are seriously impacting your mental and emotional health, and previous attempts to voice your boundaries have failed. It's time to blow the dog whistle, which is the silent treatment. Block numbers, delete emails without reading, and completely remove yourself from any and all contact with the offender or offenders. This sends a specific tone and frequency that only energy vampires can hear, loud and clear. They will have a visceral, if not violent, response to this. They will behave like a cornered wild animal because you've cut off their food source, you. This technique is neither kind nor unkind. It is a clear halt to your participation in toxic behavior. Again, consultation with a therapist, counselor, or trauma specialist is advised before taking drastic actions. Remember this, it's not people you want out of your life, it's behavior. Dementors. These are the worst breed of energy vampires. Basically sociopaths, opportunists, con artists, and emotionally imbalanced individuals who will suck all the joy out of the world and the life force out of you. These creatures go into stalk and attack mode when hit with the silent treatment. If you've blocked a Dementor's number and maintain complete silence, but they show up on your doorstep, excessively ringing the doorbell, circling your house and pounding on every door, You now have a trespasser on your private property. Call 911. Do not confront or engage with the demeanor at any way. This is a dangerous person. You stay on the phone with 911 until the police arrive. Protocol. Professional work environments are often riddled with and run by very successful, ambitious energy vampires who actually do not intend personal offense. The very nature of leadership depends on strong-willed, highly creative, multitasking individuals to ensure the smooth flow of overall productivity, energy, quality, money, time, and people. Think of a production manager for a multi-day, multi-venue music festival that requires the coordination of hundreds of people, musicians, stagehands, technicians. I know people who do this, and they are perfectly lovely individuals. It's just that they're a little extra. They are ultimately very much respected because their focus is about doing good work. It's just that their supercharged, obnoxious energy fields are so intense that good work for them equals industry standard professionalism to the rest of us. A quick fix for extra energy vampires is to envision a volume dial right on the face of Count Extrala, and you just kind of reach out and turn down the energy volume. That actually works. I do it all the time. If you're involved with energy vampires at work, you have to weigh your professional standing and your income to determine the best call for you and your happiness and your peace of mind. A protocol. Again, a tough call to make because where you work, what you do, and who you do it with is also part of your territory. If human resources protocols fail and toxic situations escalate, then changing jobs is the best call to make. Just after I launched Chapter 1, where I signed the Angels and Demons task, a friend and talented witch from Austin called and asked, "What if one of my angels is also a demon?" As I mentioned earlier, not all energy vampires are out to deliberately hurt you. In fact, interpersonal relationships will naturally have ups and downs with complicated dynamics that really do stretch and tangle over time. Nevertheless, when our angels cross into the demon realm, they become fallen angels. A temporary relapse into energy vampirism. Here again, we have to clearly organize our boundaries accordingly. By not participating in codependent dysfunctional behavior patterns, you begin removing the energy vampire's coffin dirt from your territory. Once this is done, you'll find common ground. People who divorce and have children manage to do this all the time. Same with bad patch with your best friend. Boundaries may need to be adjusted to limit time together, but time tends to heal. And dysfunctional communication can be transformed into loving, healthy communication, where the energy exchange feels like a full current. Both parties leave conversations feeling nourished, not depleted. For the remainder of the 7 wonders, simply put the names of your fallen angels on the outside of your circle of protection. Remember, you are in magical recovery. Not everyone in your life is an energy vampire, but that doesn't mean your intimates won't unconsciously impede your healing. Be gentle, but firm. 7 close encounters. When we initiate the practice and task of the 7 wonders, we begin encountering rapid-fire synchronicity. Our shadow work immediately connects us with the great creator, and the universe seems to cooperate with us by switching on a stream of good luck. I hinted at synchronicity in Chapter 3, The 7 Wonders of Power, when I assigned the Witchcraft task. Grab your Shadow Pages journal and number 1 to 7. Try to list 7 occurrences of synchronicity you've encountered. If one of your witchcraft items has come into being, return to your catches column and record the results there. Remember, tonight's full moon is going to enhance the communication work you are doing, including delivering changes in your course. More appropriate jobs and appropriate friends, plus authentic opportunities, are rushing in like a windstorm. The best thing you can do is just throw open your arms and fly with it. Leap, and the net will appear. It's John Burroughs. REM meditation. The shadow dance practice not only aligns us with our shadow, but stabilizes and unburdens our nervous system. I want to reiterate that our bodies are the most perfect magical tools that we have and our most accurate pendulums. Care for our bodies, but more specifically, our nervous systems, is paramount. Stress will impact every aspect of your health, magic, and quality of life. If you've been subjected to long-term abuse due to toxic behavior patterns, talk therapy is not enough. There is neurological damage and trauma. Again, depending on the level of abuse, you may wish to consult with your doctor and connect with a trauma specialist. Nevertheless, the following meditation is something I learned from my yogi years ago here in Santa Fe, and it mirrors EMDR therapy. What is EMDR therapy? Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR therapy, is a psychotherapy technique that utilizes sensory input, such as eye movements, to help people recover from trauma. As a therapeutic approach, the EMDR is based on several therapies of psychotherapy, including concepts of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. EMDR techniques are used to unblock emotional processes that have been stagnated by distress. By unblocking your emotions, you can, in a sense, reprogram your brain. Then, you can begin to heal from the pain and fear associated with the trauma and emotional distress you have experienced. EMDR can also allow you to gain new perspective, which can facilitate improved self-esteem and enhance your personal beliefs about your capabilities. Source: Very Well Mind by Katharina Starr, PhD. So, for this meditation, you want to sit cross-legged if you can. If you need to lie down, you can do that as well. Just stretch, make sure you're stretched from head all the way down to toe. Close your eyes. And I'm not going to do this full meditation. I'm just going to basically walk you through the steps. But you want to cycle through, take 10 full breaths. Inhale through your nose, all the way down into your belly. Exhale up through the top of your head. Do 10 cycles of that with your eyes closed. You want to do your fingers, these two fingers together. Put those down like this, or if you're lying down, just down by, lying with your arms down beside you. And then you're going to start with your eyes closed. You want to start moving your eyes quickly, left to right. Just shift them back and forth, left to right. Count 7 times. If you started on this side, count 7 times. And then start over here. Repeat that. And then, with your eyes closed, you want to focus on your third eye. And then you want to focus at the tip of your nose. Do that back and forth for 7 times. Repeat that process, and then let your eyes just start to move randomly in all different directions. And keep this going for about 5 minutes. 10 minutes is better. Depending on the level of stress that you have in your life, you may only need to do this practice once a week. But if a lot of us are under a lot of stress right now, regardless, and this really has a lot of healthy benefits. First of all, you're breathing, and that's good for your body. But also the eye movement. Our eyes are really help maintain our overall health. It strengthens your eye muscles a lot. It gets a lot of blood flowing into your eyes. It's just like working out. So the benefit to your eyes is really, really, really just that health benefit alone. But the actual eye movement, this does replicate this therapy I was talking about earlier, and it really does help reset and unburden your nervous system. You're going to start feeling better, and when you start when depression starts to fade and you start connecting with your emotions again, that is transformative energy, and it's also communication, which is, I guess, brings us to the end of Chapter 5, The 7 Wonders of Territory. Can you tell I've been drinking a lot of coffee? This is my free Dobie coffee cup. Again, that wraps Chapter 5, The 7 Wonders of Territory. Once again, in addition to all these tasks and spell work, don't forget to continue with your shadow work. Your basic tools are the shadow pages. You got to do 3 pages a day every day. You want to do a shadow dance with your shadow for about 20 minutes, 1 night a week. Tonight is ideal because it is a full moon. And then, of course, your weekly vision quest. Get yourself out to really have a good time with yourself. Give yourself something really fantastic to do and go enjoy yourself. Have all kinds of bonus material. Additional content is on our digital witch box, which is associated with the blog for Chapter 5, The 7 Wonders of Territory. You can find that at daniellink.com. Very special thanks again to my shadow mates, Jillian Brash, who has been extremely helpful, especially through every chapter that we've done, but especially the work in this chapter. And also my fellow shadow mate right here in Santa Fe, both of those gals actually, Jen. Thank you so much for helping me navigate territory, and also to both of you for sharing me the experiences that you've been having with the 7 Wonders. And I think perhaps at some point I would like to get the input of some of the people who have been engaging with this work, and so we can get a sense of what everyone's going through. Join me again on Saturday, December 12th, as we launch Chapter 6, The 7 Wonders of Integrity. Until then, thanks again for trusting me. Be kind to yourself, and I'll see you at the rainbow's edge.